This is it. After you have been with us, Pro Wrestling Central, since I would say 2017. And that's since how long I've known you. And we started Pro Wrestling Central in 2016. We started doing our videos in 2021 with Vaz, Jeremy, and myself, another guy named Kyle. Over time, the cast has changed. Jeremy stayed, I stayed, Vaz moved on to Supersport. Sumit is now with us, Kamal is with us, Amo is with us, and now finally we get you on camera. So this is amazing. It's incredible. It is the first time ever. I can't say well. You tried to join us for the watch along. It didn't work out so well, but we've got you here today. So, like I mentioned to everybody, you are formerly born and raised in South Africa. You're now living abroad in Ireland. But before we get into talking about wrestling, I think it's only, you know, right for people to get to know who you are as a person before we talk about your journey in watching wrestling. So just give everyone watching right now a short intro of yourself. Who is Ash?
Pretty much right. Okay, so you've probably forgotten this. I was actually born in Zimbabwe.
Oh,
Yes, I was born in Zimbabwe. 1999, baby. So I'm 26 this year. Then I moved to South Africa in 2010. So I was 11. Lived in Durban. So yeah, that's me. So then from the time I was 11, got to watch the World Cup. Moses Mabida. So yeah, from that period, I've been in South Africa until 2025. So I can say that I really like grew up in South Africa. That's really where my childhood was. So I sort of started my I really grew up. My primary ended off in South Africa. My high school, my college, that is me. Um, and then just a little bit about myself. Yes, like I said, I'm 26 this year. I'm a software engineer. That's my profession. I do that on a daily basis. That's actually what got me to move from South Africa to Ireland. And yeah, pretty much it's trying to balance work because that's something that I took up not just because of the profession or wanting to make money from it, but also just because like it's something I have a deep love for. And much like wrestling too, it's something that I started watching at the age of 3, 4 with my dad, because my dad is a big fan of wrestling as well. He loves it. So if it's even if he's sitting alone, I just tune in, watch wrestling together. He's good. So that's how I started watching wrestling. That would have been about 2004 when I started watching wrestling. So at the time, we used to, in Zim, so that was still in Zim, we had a channel called BTV. That's your Botswana TV. That's equivalent to like your SABC. And at the time, wrestling is something that you would see like 2, 3 weeks, like much later. You understand? So it's not even like you're caught up. Like it's this thing is late. And on top of that, it is trimmed down to like basically 45 minutes because the other 15 minutes is for ad breaks, eh? So ad breaks. And in that 15 minutes, they just showing you all the highlights. So it was always a shock when I start watching, and then 2 weeks later, I'm like, wait, why is he Intercontinental Champion? When did he get it? You know? And he's like, bro, come on, I missed this. So that was it. And then obviously DSTV rolled out. I think it's all around about 2004. I could be wrong on this one. 2005, we got it. That's when we started watching it on ETV, but ETV wasn't all that up to date yet. And then there was WWE Afterburn and Bottom Line. That's how I used to catch up with it because I would watch ETV, then Afterburn would help me with my SmackDown, if I remember correctly, then Bottom Line of the Raw stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, I missed that. So that's really where my foundation in wrestling started. It was all thanks to my dad, and that's how I would catch up. And then with the rise of the internet, you start to watch other stuff on YouTube. You really start to find entertainment websites that help you catch up with wrestling. I know it's a bit of a gray area for everyone these days. I mean, maybe not everyone's got deep pockets to watch, because I mean, we've seen how expensive it is now to just watch any sort of thing. You watch soccer, you got a subscription for that, and subscription to this. And now, I think one thing I can say I'm lucky with here is that in Ireland we're one of the countries that can. I'm in one of the countries where you can watch wrestling on Netflix. So I just have this €10 subscription, and that's it. I watch my SmackDown, I watch my Raw, I watch everything else. But for other viewers, I understand there's still the hustle of either trying to get a VPN or trying to watch it on DSTV, which is very expensive. And yeah, so that's I don't want to go too deep, but yeah, man, that is me.
Wow. And you did mention you're in Ireland. What is the time difference between Ireland and South Africa? Because right now it is 11:30 here.
That is 10:30 here as well. So we're an hour behind.
Okay.
And yeah,
And you guys
it's
implement daylight savings time, right?
correct. We do. We do.
So right
So
now in
around
the
about
summer months, it's 1 hour behind. In winter, it'll be 2 hours behind.
correct, correct.
All
And
right.
yeah, and I hate it when we're in that period because like when I try and catch up on calls with everyone, it's like, dude, it's late.
Mm-hmm.
It's late. And I knock off I work 9-6. My company works 9-6. So I'm knocking off at 8 o'clock South African time. You
That's like
understand?
our 10 o'clock here.
Yes. No, I mean no, 8 o'clock South African time. I knock off at
Oh,
6. Yes, yes. And then
oh
I still have to
yes.
yes, and then I still have to get home and start cooking and then get on to phone calls. And already people are almost like into bed. You understand? They're
Yeah.
winding up the night. So yeah, so that's really the adjustment. But also it's not too bad an adjustment. I mean, it could have been worse. I could be sitting in the US or Canada, which is miles ahead, you know? So, but yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, US and Canada, that's like a 6 hour difference in the summer and 7 hours in winter, which is ridiculous. You'll be
It's
calling people,
ridiculous.
you'll think it's prime time, 7 o'clock. Meanwhile, it's like 1 or 2 in the morning here.
Oh man. And you've got to schedule your calls much
Hmm.
earlier into the day. I've got a colleague of mine, he makes his calls during our lunchtime because that's the
Okay.
only because it will now be 8 o'clock for the family in Canada and stuff. So he's got to make the call like at 1 o'clock this side, 2 o'clock, just so that he can say hi and bye in that period. Otherwise, they're in bed.
Right. Yeah, it is an adjustment. It's incredible. So yeah, we talked about, as I didn't know that you actually were born in Zimbabwe.
Yeah,
Maybe you had mentioned it before, but
yeah,
my mind is
it's
still.
it's been 7 years, man. 6, 7 years to be honest. I think it's also something that I didn't advertise like that. I was just like, no, that's yeah, no, 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 okay. So it's but yeah, that's it.
Okay, well, in South Africa, it's a bit of a similar story. Originally we had WCW on ETV when it launched in 1998 as a free-to-air
Hmm.
channel, alternative to the SABC. And I don't know how far behind we were on that, but I do know how far behind we were on WWE when WCW folded and ETV now got the rights to showcase WWE in 2001.
Hmm.
We had 1 hour of Raw and 1 hour of SmackDown, which used to air originally on a Thursday and then later on Wednesdays at 8:30 in the evening. Raw used to air at 5 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon.
Correct.
So we were 3 weeks behind on the broadcast. So and it was most evident when WWE came here in 2011. I did go to the show in Westridge Park Stadium,
Oh
and
yeah,
Ezekiel Jackson walks in as the Intercontinental Champion,
I
but yet
remember
I'm
that
following
bit.
on TV. And Wade Barrett's the Intercontinental. I'm like, when did this happen? So I can relate to that feeling.
Oh man, Oh man, and that really throws you off. So we were
Mm.
on par. Like I guess African market just got their stuff 3 weeks ahead. Because I remember even that transition to ETV and watching SmackDown on Wednesday night. Like it was just like, hey, mom and dad, I'm watching wrestling on Wednesday night. No negotiations. And yeah,
Right.
man, the 3 weeks killed us.
Yeah, and then I mean, you had DSTV, like you mentioned, it launched in South Africa in 1995. So the
Hmm.
fact that you guys only got it in like 10 years later in Zim is wow, that's actually mind blowing. But not everybody had it. Not everybody
Yes.
had it in South Africa. It was only for the elite rich that could afford
Hmm.
it at the time. And
Hmm.
now you're paying, like you said, a 300 Rand plus subscription for DSTV. You guys got Netflix for 10 euros. We have to pay about 219, no, 249 Rand a month or 59, yeah, 259 Rand a month for Netflix here. So the price difference, it shows. It does really show. So it's interesting
Oh,
that you mentioned that. So yeah, so originally it was just 2 shows a week. Raw on Sundays, SmackDown Wednesdays. Eventually we got Saturdays at 5 p.m. It used to originally be Velocity. There, that used to
yes.
be showcasing the cruiserweight division of SmackDown, but also giving you SmackDown highlights at the same time. So it was sort of like Afterburn, but they gave you extra matches that you won't see on SmackDown.
Hmm.
So after Velocity folded, then we got ECW on Saturdays at 5 p.m. Then
Oh, I love that.
ECW, yeah, ECW was an amazing show. Towards the end, it got a bit weird, and then it folded,
Yeah.
and then we got NXT, which featured South Africa's own Justin Gabriel in the first season. It was
Oh,
a
I loved
huge
it.
thing. Everybody was
Yeah.
watching it. It was like a competition show originally for about 5 seasons. NXT Redemption was the worst season ever because that thing was like, my God, it wasn't even a competition anymore. It was just like a weekly
No.
show that they took 2 minutes to write. Literally, they said in an interview that the writers spent about 5 minutes writing Redemption, NXT Redemption, because
No
were
way.
more focused on John Cena's rivalry on Raw and SmackDown, Randy Orton's rivalries on SmackDown. They were more focused on writing that, so they only spent like 2 3 minutes drafting out a match card for
No
Redemption, and that was
way.
it. But I'm glad. I'm glad it folded, and we got the new version of NXT that launched in July 2012. You got guys names like Sami Zayn, Bray Wyatt, Adrian Neville, all the top
Mm.
guys, Corey Graves. Everyone was wrestling at a top level. It was treated like another TV show, although it was sort of like a developmental, which it was.
Yes.
And yeah, so and oh, how can I forget? 4 p.m. on a Saturday, one of my favorite WWE shows of all time, WWE Vintage Collection, hosted by Gene Okerlund. Absolutely amazing show. You see amazing retro content from the NWA,
Yeah.
WCW, WWE, retro. Everything was just amazing, absolutely wonderful
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, and then obviously Afterburn used to come at 8 p.m. on a Tuesday night originally.
Hmm.
Then we had Bottom Line at 11:30, which would be like right now on a Saturday morning. We'd be watching Bottom Line on
Hmm.
ETV. And there was one more show, Superstars. Superstars used to
Yes.
air, I think it was
On,
Mondays, or yeah, Mondays at 8
I
p.m.
think it
originally.
was, I remember it was in the evenings. Yeah, I'll catch up on that. And it'll help you see some stars that you rarely see on TV.
Mhm.
And now
It
with the
gave them
benefit
exposure.
of, yeah, and with benefit of understanding how the mechanics works or how the machine works behind the curtain now, it's like, oh, okay, so it's
Mhm.
something that actually did happen after Raw or after SmackDown. Like, okay, geez, there's a lot of stars that really needed that airtime.
And it was amazing because they shot it before Raw, SmackDown, and ECW would air. So the show would be
Oh,
broken up
before.
into three
Hmm.
portions. They'd have an ECW portion, a SmackDown
Hmm.
portion, and a Raw portion. And they'd alternate between SmackDown and Raw main eventing each week. So it was an incredible thing to watch, really. It was amazing. We were spoiled for we didn't realize at the time how good we had it with content. Never mind the fact that we were 3 weeks behind. And
Hmm.
never mind the fact that Vintage Collection itself was 6 weeks behind. Most people don't know about that.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't
Vintage
know that.
Collection. Yeah, a
6 weeks.
1.5 month behind on
No
Vintage
way.
Collection. But WWE was 3 weeks behind. Only in 2015, then we started watching in 1 week delay. So if WrestleMania was this Sunday, you knew you would see it the next week Sunday.
Hmm.
So Then after about a year or two of that, the deal with ETV ended. They went to Supersport. I don't know if I'm at liberty to say this, but I personally know the guy who sealed the deal for WWE to make them shift from ETV to Supersport. I'm not going to mention
Oh.
his name.
No, 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 no,
He
no.
is, he is one
Yeah.
of the people who used to be in Pro Wrestling Central. He's now a musician, a local
Mm-hmm.
independent musician. So I'm not going to name names, but just to let you guys know, I knew that WWE is moving from ETV about, I would say, 6 months before it even happened. So knowing that information, it was just heartbreaking and crushing to know that I wasn't going to be able to watch on ETV anymore. But luckily at the time, I just got my first smartphone. I was working, so I was like, cool. To hell with it. I'll just get the WWE Network and I'll watch all the stuff on there, the pay-per-views and stuff. And plus, I had my pirate sites, which at the time I have. I may or may not still have them. I'm not
No,
gonna
no, no, no. We
hold
can't
myself.
say. Yeah,
But
no, no.
in WWE Network, we had the network at the time. That's where I'd watch all the pay-per-views and the
Mm-hmm.
Raws and SmackDown highlights on YouTube. So yeah, that's basically the history of WWE in South Africa. The history of me
Oh,
watching
wow.
wrestling, just like
Mm-hmm.
you. 1997.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the exact date. I know it was September. Very
Mm-hmm.
first match, Goldberg's debut on WCW TV against
Oh man, that's
Hugh
so
Morris.
cool.
I
Man,
watched
that's so
Goldberg's
cool. You watched the
debut.
Goldberg. You watched the Goldberg era. Man,
I
that
watched it.
I wish I was alive for
When
that
I was
period.
a kid, Goldberg was my guy. Now,
Sure.
not so much, but yeah, when I was a
Yeah.
kid, Goldberg was my guy. The WCW Cruiserweight division, my God, I cannot begin to tell
Uh.
you. Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho, Rey Mysterio, Juventud Guerrera, you name it,
Mm-hmm.
Psychosis, Ultimo Dragon, Silver
Yeah.
King, every single luchador of the time you could mention was there. I'm almost tearing up as I'm
Mm.
telling you because it was such an amazing time watching WCW Nitro. I think it used to air, if I'm not mistaken, on Mnet. For those who don't know,
Yes.
Mnet was
Mnet.
it was a paid satellite channel here in South Africa. My parents had the decoder. Mnet had two channels, and you had to buy an entire decoder for that, plus have the installation of the satellite. So
Mhm.
we had that, and that's where I was watching WCW until my parents couldn't afford it anymore. We moved place, and so after that, I was mainly depending on ETV, which was showing WCW. I don't know if they were showing Nitro, Thunder, or Pro. It was one of the three shows, but I do remember names like Booker T, Ric Flair, Scott Steiner, Big Papa Pump, Rick Steiner. At the time, I don't remember seeing Hogan on WCW. I think at that point the NWO had dissolved by the time they showed it on ETV. The time that I remember, and then yeah, so then WCW folded. Obviously, I didn't know about it. I thought WCW and WWE was the same thing. You know, when you're a 5-year-old kid, you don't know really the difference. So
That's the
then
same.
they folded,
Yeah.
and then WWE came on, and the first thing I see on WWE Raw at 5 p.m. on a Sunday is Stone Cold Steve Austin mouthing off to Vince McMahon in the backstage segment. And I'm like, wow, what is the name of the show? Raw. Well, Stone Cold Steve Austin certainly acting very raw towards Vince McMahon right now. He's
For
just, I'm
sure.
going to get your goddamn ass, Vince. You watch it. You will see when I got the world title, and all the fans will be screaming, what? What? So it was incredible.
You
I'm
mean
watching this.
God? Can you imagine? That was an era, man.
That was the era. But I didn't catch all of Ruthless Aggression. I mean, sorry, Attitude Era. My era was Ruthless Aggression.
Mm-hmm.
So as they transitioned to 2002, I'm watching guys like Kurt Angle, Triple H, John Cena, Randy Orton, Ric Flair, Batista, Edge, Rey Mysterio, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Chavo Guerrero, Brock Lesnar. The Rock was still around. I think Stone Cold Steve also was a commissioner with Eric Bischoff at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Man, the names, the Basham brothers, oh my God, the Dudleys, Edge and Christian, the Hardys, Jeff and Matt, Undertaker, Maven, who now has a YouTube channel. My God,
Yes.
those guys were the era. That was like the era. You had Raw and SmackDown as separate brands. separate pay-per-views, separate championships. Even the referees had different color shirts.
The
SmackDown had the
blue
blue,
shirts. Oh man,
and
I
Raw
remember
had the
that.
zebras.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was incredible. That even different commentating teams. I think Michael Cole on SmackDown, Raw, JR and Jerry Lawler on Raw.
Yes, yes, yeah.
For a short time, they had Jonathan Coachman. There was what was his name from ECW? That guy with the glasses.
Oh my
Joey
God.
Styles,
Yeah.
Taz. Um, Taz used to be a SmackDown commentator. Um, Damn, he's getting all in my feels. Oh, who can
Man.
forget? What was that guy's name? Mike Adamle, Jeff
Uh-huh.
Harvey instead of Jeff Hardy. That was
Jeff Harvey.
the guy who needed a script
Just
to remember names.
has to go
So
together.
I watched it all through my primary, high school. I think that's the one constant about me. I may
Mm-hmm.
have changed primary school to high school. I may have changed jobs. I may have changed my life. I may have changed girlfriends. I may have changed where I'm living from where I was a kid to now. The one constant, no matter what, was pro wrestling. That was always there, no matter what, through my entire life, right till I started schooling, right until I started working, right till I started my side hustles, gigs, everything. Pro wrestling was always there. There was a short period, and I would admit there was a short period of about a year from I'd say May or June of 2020 till about May or June of 2021, where I went on a bit of a break from wrestling. Not because I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to, because something was happening in my life at the time. I'm not going to say what it was, but there was a situation where I wasn't able to watch it. But from 2021 in June, that's when I kickstarted. I approached Vaz, I approached Jeremy, who was my buddies from like 2016, to say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
we've got this Pro Wrestling Central thing. Let's try for a YouTube channel. Let's try a TikTok.
Right.
Let's try Instagram, Facebook. And while I'm here, I just want to address to everybody that now we're not allowed on Instagram until we get 1,000 followers. So if you
That got
are on
me as
Instagram,
well.
yeah, guys, if you're following us on Instagram, please share it. Get people to follow us. Let's get to 1,000 followers so we can get back to Instagram. Let's try and get 1,000 followers on TikTok so that we can migrate our lives to TikTok. That's something we're working on at the moment. We are also working on our YouTube channel, so check those videos out. Like and subscribe if you are. So that's when we started in 2021. We started the channels. But we've always had our awards. Our
Mm-hmm.
awards was held every year since I think 2016, no, 17. So next year will be the 10th annual Pro Wrestling Central Awards, which is
Man.
going to be incredible. First year will
How
be the
quick
ninth
time
annual.
moves.
Sorry?
How quick time moves. Like
Yeah,
2016 feels very much like yesterday for me.
it does. And
So
yet it was so
yet,
long ago. And then
yeah,
we just started
that's
out things like 4 or 5 years ago. And here we are now, and I'm talking to you on Facebook. So that's the history of me in South Africa at Pro Wrestling Central. So
hmm
now let's hear from you. You mentioned you started watching when you were 3 or 4 years old. Um, Take us through your memories of wrestling from the time you were a kid. Just like how I was telling you about the things I
yeah.
remember, just give the people what you remember growing up from professional wrestling.
All right, so geez, that's a very good question right there. Now you prompting me to dig up memories on me. But for me, so it should have been around 2003, 2004. I am the kid that grew up in the John Cena era, essentially. You know, the John Cena era was my era. I grew up watching everything John Cena. Now, we used to watch wrestling. This is now just before we started watching South African television. So this is where we had BTV and we'd watch it on BTV and obviously the 1 hour version. And I grew up as a big fan of John Cena. Like you can imagine, 2004, I was 5 years old. So my mind there, like I'm not using the same mind now that I have now. I'm not thinking Golden Shovel Cena, you know. So I grew up watching that. I was 100% behind John Cena. Just seeing him there take on each and every challenge, like take down. JBL right there, you understand? I'm like right behind him. Like this JBL needs to like get rid of him. I remember watching John Cena. Was it he took Coachman and yeeted him into the garbage bin? I mean the garbage truck over there. Um, and would watch all those matches and just like, yeah, no, like, get rid of Coachman. He shouldn't be here. And then it moved on to what was this? And then around about that time as well, I was a big fan of Batista. This is where I think Evolution had almost had just ended. I'm not too sure. You can correct me on the history on this one, but this is where Batista was now really more starting to become more of like a world champion-ish. You understand? This is where like you get the Batista like machine gun type of thing. So we're watching Batista there. I'm like 100% behind Batista now. Like I see Batista versus Undertaker, and I'm like, why is this happening? Because I like these two gentlemen. Who am I gonna support now? If it was Batista versus Edge, man, and I was a big like guy, big on faces, baby faces. So and I would just see Edge like cheat and everything. I had a deep hate for Edge, you understand? So wrestling was something very passionate for me, like you said, and I even now into my life, it still is. And then got to ETVs and then started watching pay-per-views on Sunday afternoons as well. Like I think they'll start around about two-ish, 2 till 4. So obviously they'll still cut down on two things there. But for the most part, you would see all the important stuff over there. And then yeah, I would make sure if there was a pay-per-view, I am seated on my like in the dining room watching wrestling at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. I am watching it. Straight after that, we're watching Raw, and it was always just an amazing Sunday to have my wrestling start at like 2 until essentially 6 because you'd watch everything there. And then obviously the previous Saturday you'd we had like you said we had ECW that would watch at some point, and then we watched the NXT game show with Titus O'Neil and all that, carrying this barrel and trying to run and doing that. Um, so yeah, that's just me growing up, always watching wrestling. I mean, I bought John Cena shirts when I was a kid. My parents, they knew. They. Oh yeah, no, I had the big orange shirt. This orange shirt that's not much John. I don't have it anymore because of moving between countries and cities. I mean, I moved from Zim to Namibia, from Namibia to KZN, and KZN to Gauteng. Whatever. So I lost a lot of things in that period. But yeah, I used to cut titles out of boxes and design them. That's how much I was a fan. And playing music, you start using theme songs, and John Cena is like, that was me. So I grew up in the real John Cena era. I was always behind him. And then I'd say about we got to 2012, 13, where we got internet. We got internet. And then I didn't have a smartphone at the time, but we had a computer at home. So in that period, that is when I started to watch internet online on different sites. And this is when I started getting exposed to like the real length of Raw, the real length of SmackDown. And that's when I'm like, oh, okay, so I really have been missing out a lot, like a lot. And then suddenly now, because I'm watching it online on like, this is when like I even started watching it even on YouTube. You understand? I would sometimes watch the YouTube highlights. It got to a stage where I used to watch the YouTube highlights and didn't even bother watching because I think I don't want to rag on this old man, but come on, man, his writing started to get very bad to the stage that I couldn't watch wrestling for the full 3 hours. I was like, I understand. Like, I've been getting 1 hour Raw and SmackDown, and I actually prefer. I can't sit the full 3 hours of Raw. There's no way. So it on school mornings. This is me every school morning. I'd wake up, I'd go on YouTube and I'll just queue all the previous nights raw on YouTube because you can make a playlist. So like on the fly type of playlist. And in the morning, whilst I'm eating breakfast, whilst I'm lotioning up, whilst just getting packed in the morning, I would watch all the YouTube highlights of the wrestling, and that was my fix. So I didn't care about watching the wrestling because I was like, this 3 minute snippet, what am I gonna get? It's gonna satisfy. I'm gonna say, okay, so I don't know, John Cena took on Edge. Okay, I'm happy with that. And then John Cena, perfect. That's it. That's good for me. It wasn't, yeah, it wasn't really palatable for me at the 3 hour mark. And then both the best and worst thing happened. I I started learning more about okay, I missed that comment over there. I started watching podcasts. So this is where you get exposed to guys like your Dave Malzers, your I don't know if Sean Rossap was there yet. No, he wasn't there yet. But like this is where now you start to get behind the scenes information of how these things are meant to be or how they are working. And then you're like, okay, now I see it. And then you start to question it even more because this was me. I wasn't, it didn't now sort of like deter me from watching wrestling. It actually just pushed me to question a lot of the booking decisions now. Because then I'm just like, but this doesn't make sense. You're the booker, you're the one writing the storyline. Why are you doing this? This doesn't make sense. Why is he winning all the matches? Or come on, there's this new up and coming star. Why don't you put him over? You know? And then um yeah, this is where now Brock Lesnar came back as well. In that period, that's when I started to see Brock Lesnar. And now, remember, I was still young when Brock Lesnar was wrestling on SmackDown, so I do not know who Brock Lesnar is. I've only seen Brock Lesnar in like your, I don't know if Vintage Collection showed any Brock Lesnar matches. I don't remember very well, but like I just seen some like old matches, and I've always just known this like Brock Lesnar as a beast. You understand? And his previous match, like even his match with like Kurt Angle when he did the backflip moonsault type of thing, and I'm just like, bruh, this guy is jacked. So when I saw him coming out, I was like, yeah, no, John Cena's about to get murdered, yeah, you know. So we watched that. I had a love-hate relationship because Brock Lesnar was pushed very strongly, but then also he's got the look, so you're just like, yeah, but he looks it. It looks like $1 million, so he deserves to. Now obviously I know those days it's a bit of a tough one. You can't really use Brock Lesnar like that. It's a very tough story. We're not gonna address those issues, but back then, yeah, we had that your Brock Lesnar's, and then obviously the Brock Lesnar versus Triple H matches. Those I watched. I was deeply into those. That is where I had my full Brock Lesnar experience. You understand? When you watch it on Village Collection, you're like, okay, this happened back then, but you don't get the full context. You don't get the build up from the time that Brock Lesnar debuted with Paul Heyman to the time he wins the King of the Ring to the time he challenges for the WWE Championship to the time he wins and just everything else in between. So now I'm seeing Brock Lesnar from this stage and I'm watching it and yeah, I enjoyed it. Then, your Brock Lesnar was champion for ever. I began to hate Brock Lesnar because he became pushed too hard. And like I said, because now I've got the benefit of knowing what happens behind the scenes, I'm like, but why is he still champion? He doesn't even pitch anymore, So I had my period as well where I still love wrestling, but it sort of slumped. You understand? Oh, before the YouTube had, yeah, for sure. Vintage Collection definitely was it before YouTube. And so yeah, now I had my period where like I looked at it and I'm like, you know what, I don't feel like watching wrestling like in that like in its full length. I got to a stage where wrestling I would watch it in very like condensed videos, short form videos, because it would still quench that thirst, but also sometimes I would watch even those videos and it's like Raw or SmackDown sucked today. But you know what? At least I didn't spend an hour watching it, so it's fine. At least I'm up to date. And then you'd go and listen to, I don't know, a podcast. I'm like, yeah, no, so Vince decided to rewrite Raw like 5 minutes before the show started, and he was also rewriting it whilst the show was happening. And I'm just like, oh my word, it's time to get this old man out of here, you know? So I had that experience, and then time progressed, I started to learn more about how wrestling actually worked, watching more videos. You watch more old videos. I I can say I live on the WWE network is where I started like just watching a whole lot of things. Um, and yeah, growing up, that was it, man. Until I got here, and to this day, still wrestling is a big thing of mine. I really, really love watching wrestling. My big wish right now is to go watch wrestling. I was actually going to watch SmackDown in the next 2 weeks because they are live here ahead of the Clash of Paris. No, Clash of the what? Clash in Paris? What is it?
Yes.
Clash of, yeah, yeah. I was going to watch because they're doing SmackDown and Cena's last run in there. And then I'm sure we know this. Ticket prices. Ticket prices, my word. I mean, what? Oh, yeah, what year did I find out about? Oh, okay, I found out that would have been 2013. 2013, that's where I found out about kayfabe and it being predetermined, you know? And like I said, it didn't deter me from watching wrestling, but it got me questioning a lot of the booking decisions, knowing now that this thing is predetermined. Now I'm just like, okay, so Cena is not the hero we thought he was. You understand? Batista or John Cena is not the hero we thought he was. But like, why is this happening now? Like, who came up with this decision? So, but yeah, wrestling is still. Anyways, just coming back, wrestling is still a big part of my life. I still watch it. On weekends, even sometimes, like have calls late with my girlfriend on a Friday because we watch movies together on teleparty and stuff. So, wrestling obviously starts like at 1 a.m. here. So I'm still up, so I'll even have like wrestling playing. I watch Raw and SmackDown live, or even this morning when I woke up, I watched SmackDown. And I was like, okay, cool, let's watch some SmackDown. That's good way to get going. I'd watch SmackDown. I I still listen to podcasts because I'm a big I like to book like what you call it, fantasy book. Yeah, I'm a big fantasy booking kind of person. Yeah, I like to fantasy book and I just like start to run through the mechanics. But also I like to in a sense hear about the background happenings as well. Like even the WWE Unreal what you call this? I'm not sure if you watched it in its entirety,
Yeah.
but I did watch it and whilst there were quite a few things that I knew from just like listening to news podcasters and all that people are privy to such information, it was also nice to see as well, like, okay, these people aren't like enemies. It's just all an act, Like you'd watch, like I remember watching the Cody and Kevin Owens match where he yeets him into the ladder and Kevin's bleeding and all that. And then backstage, they're just running through them. Oh man, I'm so sorry. Like you didn't land on your neck and all that. And I'm just like, man. This is amazing. You understand? This guy is go all out, and even how I know we're not discussing what's happening on Raw and SmackDown or John Cena's Hilton, but like I didn't find John Cena's Hilton to be as amazing as I thought it would be. The when it happened, it was amazing, but after that, it for me it was just man. You understand? So just hearing the extent to which they went to keep this thing a secret is it just shows like geez, social media has really sort of ruined things a bit, but also it's just like all right, that's impressive that at least these guys go to this extent, like these measures to just like keep everything out, like so that no one knows about it, like just a finite number of people know about it, or even like how Brock Lesnar returned recently, that didn't leak. It was kept in secret, so it was quite interesting, and now with benefit of hindsight and stuff, like I start to like I said, it's both a good thing and a bad thing. I sometimes it's what has pushed me sometimes to like in this period of the year, the way I start to watch wrestling sort of dips because also I know the writers also just start to like they just start to dip because I mean we've just finished. Yes, the execution of the heel turn was good. The run was underwhelming, very underwhelming, very very underwhelming. You know, so in this period, I when I start to watch wrestling, I just like. I don't really like watch it to that full extent now because I know the writers are relaxing. We've just done your WrestleMania, we've done your SummerSlam. What more? What more? Maybe ahead of Elimination Chamber, not Elimination Chamber, Survivor Series, maybe War Games, if that's another stipulation that they want to do. And I mean, they've got the Money in the Banks off as well. So yeah, that's me. I tend to have like a up down type relationship with wrestling in the year. Before so Royal Rumble to WrestleMania, I'm super logged in. I'm watching the episodes. I'm watching like I can have the full 3 hour episode playing and just like watch it. But by the time we get to just post WrestleMania, I really have no appetite to watch the full thing because I know the writing is not gonna be that amazing. I know some matches are just gonna send you to bed, you know? So yeah, that's me and wrestling. It's been a love-hate relationship, but yeah, the predeterminedness of wrestling in a sense made me, I guess it in a sense it broke a certain wall of okay reality, but then yeah, then like why is this happening? Why? I don't agree with this, but yeah, who knows? We are all amazing bookers, by the way, when we are sitting at home and watching it. Just like when you watch soccer or anything, you're the best coach out there. You're like, why don't the coaches do this? Because I mean, you've got a different eye to this thing. So yeah, that's it. But anyways, now with wrestling, I just watch it and just say, you know what, whatever it is, it is. I just get what I get.
Yeah, so I can relate to that. Yeah, I think every hardcore fan has had a love-hate relationship with wrestling. Like I said, there's been periods where let me give you a bit of an insight on my side. Now, yeah, I have watched Unreal, WWE
Hmm.
Unreal.
Hmm.
Um, some of it we already knew. It was just that we were getting a little bit extra into the
Correct.
field of how things are going. So most of the stuff we already knew. And then, like you mentioned with the John Cena heel turn,
Hmm.
I think and I agree, as someone else also said this, it's 10 years too late. If
Correct.
John Cena had had this heel turn maybe 15 years ago, when he
Hmm.
joined the Nexus, then it would have hit.
Ah.
Perfect. Absolutely wonderful. Now we're not even interested in seeing the heel turn. We just want him to have his fun farewell tour and ride off
Yes.
into the sunset. That's what we want. So I think that is why the heel run didn't hit. It's 10 years too late. We're not into it as much as we wanted
No.
it at
No.
that point in time, you know?
Yes.
And like you were mentioning about the Brock Lesnar thing not being leaked, um, let's go back to Shane McMahon, 2016. No one saw that coming.
Oh
No one
yeah.
expected
Oh
it.
yeah. That's
To
that's
me,
true.
to me, that 2016 return of Shane McMahon was the best, most well kept secret return
Yeah.
ever. Like nothing tops that return for me personally. Because even AJ Styles, John Cena kind of ruined AJ Styles' debut by posting him on Instagram like 2 days before the event. So
Like
kind of like ruined it. But like our viewer Blade Cashmere is saying, we respect
mhm.
John Cena too much to hate him now. It doesn't
Yeah.
work, no matter what he can say about us.
Correct.
So, and coming to where I found out about kayfabe as well,
Hmm.
that would be in 2011.
Hmm.
So I found out about it, um, funny enough, because of CM Punk. So when CM Punk cut that
Oh.
pipe bomb in Las
Yes.
Vegas, and he was saying about, I'm breaking the fourth wall. Oh, did John Laurinaitis fire Vladimir Kozlov? And yes, his name is Davey Boy Smith, not David Hart Smith. And I was like, wait, what's going on
Uh,
here? So I go on the
uh,
internet and I'm like, I'm just new to Google. I'm like,
yeah.
that's what it, kayfabe. Oh, okay, this is new. And then I started reading a lot about wrestling, and I stumbled across Wikipedia's dictionary of wrestling terms,
Oh,
legit
no
feet,
way.
kayfabe, heel, face, A team, A show, B show, C show. I'm like, whoa, okay.
No
So this is what's
way.
going on. So I gotta thank Google and Wikipedia for teaching me what pro wrestling was, what it
Hmm.
really was about, how things are happening, why they're happening the way they're happening. And then I stumbled across the dirt sheets through there because they were quoting
Mm,
sources like at the time Wrestling Inc. and PW Insider, Pro Wrestling
yes.
Illustrated, Wrestling
Yes.
Observer. So I'm like,
Hmm.
I go into these dirt sheets and I'm seeing news about, oh, CM Punk just signed a new contract. John Cena's next challenger at Night of Champions. Randy Orton's next challenger determined. I'm reading these articles and I'm like, So wait, these guys don't actually hate each other.
And yeah,
Oh, okay.
they're friends. What? No ways.
Mind blowing stuff. I'm like, so that's where I found out about kayfabe. And you know what's funny? Just like you,
Hmm.
some people when they find out that wrestling is fake, they like to say fake. We like to say predetermined, choreographed.
Yes.
They say fake and they're like, ah, it's all fake, and they walk and they
It's
leave wrestling. For
yeah.
us, it made us love wrestling more for
Yes.
some reason because now we know what's happening. We understand why things are happening the way they are, and we enjoy it more because of that. So so 2011, CM Punk. That's how I found out
Oh,
about
yeah.
kayfabe. And yes,
Kayfabe.
the 1 hour Raw and SmackDowns. So we were watching all these Raw and SmackDowns 1 hour, and then what they would do with the WWE pay-per-views, they would cut out at least one or two matches if they had to,
Hmm.
in order to make it 3 hours. So because now they got to cut it down to about 2.5 hours, because half an hour has got to be for ads. So they cut out maybe one or two matches to make it the time, to make it 3 hours, and that's how we would watch it. So we were missing a few matches, but it wasn't the main matches. They would keep the main matches in.
Correct.
But
Correct.
the last straw for me was WrestleMania 32, where
Hmm.
they cut out a whole 2 hours of the show. We missed the Intercontinental title match. We missed the tag team title match. We missed Shawn Michaels, Mick Foley, and Stone Cold Steve Austin coming out and basically booting the life out of the New Day. We missed all of that. They cut straight to the Brock Lesnar match and Dean Ambrose match, which was absolute garbage.
Yeah,
We got to see
it
the
didn't
Hell in
hit.
a
Yeah.
Cell match. We saw the main event with Roman Reigns and Triple H, and a few other matches here and there. But you cut out a whole section chunk of the match. And now I, as an ETV viewer, have to now go onto YouTube and somehow find the full version because at the time I wasn't signed to the network. I had to
Hmm.
go to YouTube, find the whole version of that ladder match, and watch it in a small box corner of a screen because obviously these people couldn't post it without having that small box corner and some like screensaver like graphic in the background.
Yes.
And I'm watching this ladder match in a small little box on the corner of my smartphone like this. Like it is hard times, daddy, hard times. So so when you're watching these 1 hour versions of Raw and SmackDown, especially when you're a kid, you're like, damn it, I wish I could see the full 2 hours because this is so awesome.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
salivating
it.
for more. But then when you grow up and you watch it 2015, 16, 17, 18, and you realize how crap Raw is like, I can't watch a full 3 hours. Like, come on. I'm just going to get the highlights on the channel. Like, screw
Exactly.
this. I can't watch a full 3 hours now. It's impossible because there's so much of fluff now. But back when you were a kid, nothing seemed like fluff. It seemed like you were
Nothing.
missing out on extra stuff. So that's
Hmm.
incredible. We have some some shoot or a work predetermined Mick Foley sell for wasn't fake.
No,
We got some comments.
no, and I agree with Blade. It's always something I've always explained to people, and I'm like, guys, fake is not the word you go for. You can go for predetermined because those bumps those people take, those are real. That candlestick shot
Thumbtack,
someone takes, oh my word! It's like
thumbtacks.
I want to show them a John Moxley match. Pick any flavor John Moxley match on AEW. Just tap them into that and ask them if it's still fake. Because that is not fake. That is predetermined. But trust me, that those are real bumps.
I had someone I was watching wrestling with and trying to introduce him to it, and needless to say, he respects wrestling now. But when we were watching this one match, I showed him the Mick Foley match because I said, like, that's the match you would introduce someone to wrestling so they can see that, you know what, it may be predetermined, but the bumps they take are real. This
Very
guy
real.
sees the blood and he says, so when did they pour the tomato sauce on him? I'm like,
Oh no
dude,
no 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 no, my friend.
dude, there's literally a blade in his wristband and he's slicing himself open. What are you talking about tomato sauce, dude? Like,
There's no tomato sauce there, and like I love how Maven calls him gigs, and he's like 'cause I watch a lot of Maven, you understand? And
me too.
like This is why like I wish I was a bit older because like watching Maven's channel has even educated me even more about wrestling. And like I remember I was explaining the concept of gigging and how they would also sometimes keep it here in their thing and then how they'll just like, snip it and I was like, man, that's real blood that you see right there. When someone's bleeding, they are genuinely bleeding. And like you're trying to explain, dude, there's not like you like fake is an insult. And I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a wrestler actually who once did he slap a reporter or did he do something when the reporter was
Vader,
like, was it
Vader,
Vader?
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, he grabbed the reporter like this and he
yeah.
slapped him and he's like, does that feel fake to you?
Yeah, exactly. I remember watching that because I tend to watch like that kind of content as well just to educate myself more. And then I was like, yeah, that's what you get. Do you understand the concept of fake, dude? Like this is not CGI when we watch Fast and the Furious, when you think that they were dragging a car or the fight was choreographed. No, 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 man. Like if someone is gonna get a slap to the face, trust me, they took that and ate it. And they had to smile. And if people understood the concepts of receipts, even like between wrestlers, because oh, now you're stiffing me, so I'm gonna stiff you back.
Mm.
So,
And coming back to when wrestling started to suck heavily,
mhm,
I'd say from 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 a little bit, and then 23 it came okay a little bit, and
mhm,
24 now we were eating good. Ticket prices about $500. I think I watched Maven's video last night, and he was asking them how much did you pay for tickets to get in SummerSlam, and the fan was like $500, which to South Africans would be 5,000 rand. So I don't know where about in the crowd they're seated, but I also
man,
had one of my wrestling friends who's in the
mhm,
States who wanted to purchase tickets for WrestleMania next year. They say that they went on to Ticket Pro and it was for no, I think it was Survivor Series.
mhm,
Survivor Series or one of the WWE shows, one of the high end five big five shows. Send me a screenshot saying front row tickets for that show is 14,000 rand plus. So I'm like 14,000. I could go on an MSC cruise for that amount of money.
yeah, that's
Oh man.
that's that's my plight as a wrestling fan right now. Like I think I told you I wanted to. I'll go back to Blade's comment over there in a second. When I saw like I told you I wanted to watch the SmackDown. It's gonna be a big one. So I go on Friday. I'm just like, you know what? Maybe it's not that bad. Like maybe I can just like spare a kidney, and like spare a kidney. And how much? And I go there and I see this ticket is like 460 euros. And that time the rand to euro exchange rate is even higher. That is
Hmm.
almost 10 grand. For
Yeah.
me, not even to sit up front, not for me to sit at the back there and just essentially watch the big screen in the stadium there. And I'm just like, nah, man, like I love wrestling like that, but geez. And when I think about it, it's also something that like even now, like I don't know rag on Triple H's booking, but also like we all thought it was the magic pen, but it isn't. You understand? It's very flawed as well. And I look at wrestling, and someone rightfully pointed this out, and I'm in agreement with it. Like, with the amount of tickets that they're selling at the prices they're selling them at, like WWE going to various shows and be like, this is our biggest gate. These are shafting fans. They're really shafting fans. So why put effort to write this amazing show when fans would still buy your half-baked show for a premium, And I'm just there like, what am I gonna watch on SmackDown right now that I'm gonna get honestly. Like it's not gonna be anything interesting that is worth watching. And this is where I agree with like your friend from the States. It's okay, maybe let me go watch a pay-per-view. You understand? But then I look at like, okay, what am I gonna get Clash of Paris or what am I gonna get when they come to London or whatever? And you're just like, oh man, it's a very tough moment for me as a fan right now who's got I can say like I have a deep love for wrestling to the extent that I know like I'm privy to the behind the scenes happening, which then makes it more difficult for me to come to a decision of like, can I spend that kind of money? You understand? Because sometimes you always look at like, especially for us like who are from the African continent, wrestling rarely comes. to this side of the world. So when when wrestling is there, you're like, you know what, you only live once. It's a once in a lifetime experience. Let me go just spend the money. It's fine. I'll pay it back in like I don't know, maybe on credit or whatever. I'll just like I don't know. I'll walk to work for the week, man. I won't I won't take
Yeah.
a bike or I'll spare a couple groceries, but just for that experience. Because as a wrestling, you're trying to feed that love you had for wrestling, and then you get there and then you're like, but I'm not gonna enjoy this, man. I'm not. There's no way. So, man, you mentioned some real tough points. It's the wrestling love right now. It's a tough relationship.
I really I went to the 2011 and 2013 show. I'll tell you this much.
Hmm.
It's a good experience, but it's nowhere near the level of a TV show. Like I went
Uh,
there, the opening match was Kane versus no, it was Ted DiBiase versus Yoshi Tatsu to open us up. The best match
what?
of the night was Kane versus Sheamus. Sin Cara does not do his jumping entrance, just so you guys know, for the live events. Because for the TV show, there's a trampoline. I'm sure you were
Yes,
aware
yes,
he
eh?
was jumping off the
Yes.
trampoline. They didn't
Hmm.
bring the trampoline down with him. He walked all the flipping way to the ring. Here I am, like an idiot, got my camera out to record this because I want to see him jump and the pyro go off.
Oh,
I'm telling
shit.
my buddies next to me, hey guys, get your cameras out. You're gonna love this guy. He runs to the ring, he jumps off it like a trampoline, and the fireworks that go off. You're gonna love it. And I'm holding my camera all the way. The bro's just walking and walking, goes up the stairs. My buddies are looking at me like, what the fuck were you talking about? And I'm like, sorry, I didn't know. I thought he was gonna
I,
do the thing, but
I
he's
thought I thought he was gonna do the I thought he was gonna do the thing. I thought he was gonna.
I was like, sorry guys, that didn't happen. Main event. Who do we have in our main event? Randy Orton, who got the biggest pop of the night. Big Show and Justin Gabriel
Hmm.
against, I think it was Alberto Del Rio,
Hmm.
Dolph Ziggler, and Jack Swagger. That was our main event. Six-man tag main event. Straight out of Teddy Long's playbook for SmackDown. And it was literally branded SmackDown. It wasn't WWE Raw.
Oh,
It was all the mid card SmackDown guys that came. We didn't get John Cena. We didn't get any of the top guys. The biggest top guy we got was Randy Orton, and that was it. It was literally,
oh,
and we got an Intercontinental Championship match with Ezekiel Jackson versus Wade Barrett. We had Cody Rhodes versus Sin Cara. We got a promo with Jinder Mahal. I forgot who he faced. It was one of the faces. So yeah, it's very watered down. I enjoyed the experience. I did go for the 2013 show as well.
hmm.
Same, it's almost like a rehash of the 2011 show, which is a few
No
different styles.
way.
So we had like Damian Sandow came down. We had Cody Rhodes again. We had Randy Orton versus Wade Barrett in a hardcore match where they only used the kendo stick. We never saw steel chairs, tables, ladders, chairs, nothing. No steel trash cans. All they
Oh
used
man.
was a kendo stick. One kendo stick, and Randy Orton whiplashed Wade with that kendo stick a couple of times, and that's all we got out of the hardcore match. Um,
No man.
we got the Bella freaking twins coming out. We got we got a four-way, fatal four-way main event. I think it was Dolph Ziggler, Alberto Del Rio, Jack. Don't remember who won. It was very annoying. And then, oh, I think Fandango was also down at the time. Yeah, Fandango, Justin Gabriel obviously made the trip. So trust me, going to a WWE live event, it's okay for the experience once. You don't want
Hmm.
to do that multiple times. Like when they came down 2018, they never came to Durban. They went to Joburg and Cape Town. I didn't even bother. I watched some
They
snippets. I watched some
they did.
snippets. You had AKA having a segment with freaking Elias in the ring. I saw
Hmm.
Cedric Alexander coming out. Bray Wyatt was there, I think, but it didn't look like an interesting show.
No,
So
I
yeah,
think
it's
that
like Blade is saying, it's like something straight out of WWE
mm,
Superstars. It's not something you'd
yeah.
pay 460 euros or 5,000 rand to go and watch a show. At the time,
No.
we were lucky. We were lucky. Tickets were only like 250 rand at the time, 2011, 2013. So we didn't pay much. Now, I'm sure it's way more.
No,
Way more.
no, you are very right. I think the 2018 show, I think they were supposed to do, I could be wrong. I think they were supposed to do two shows in Cape Town. or was it one
Hmm.
show?
No, two
They end
shows
up
Joburg, one show
uh,
Cape Town.
they canceled the Cape Town because I bought a ticket. I bought a
Oh,
ticket. They canceled it. I ended up getting a refund. I was so disappointed. And I paid 600 rand for that ticket, by the way. This just shows you the change from 2011 to 2018. I paid 600 rand for my ticket. That's how much of a fan I was. They canceled it. But anyways, I got my refund. But yeah, man, I was disappointed. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna move to Ireland. I'm definitely gonna watch wrestling one of these days. I'm sure it's gonna be like 300 euros. It's a lot of money, but you know what? You only live once, man. Like, I get there and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get SmackDown for how much? For like 10 grand? Nah, no, thank you. No ways, no ways. I would spend that for a WrestleMania. Yes, for a WrestleMania, I'm like, I know that's fine. You understand? I would spend it for a SummerSlam, not for like a
random
watered down.
episode of SmackDown.
Yeah, a random episode of SmackDown. Like I remember, like even people like in Belgium when they watched the show, they really just wanted to see that John Cena face first promo after the Hilton. That's it. That was the treatment they got. But beyond that, it was just raw. Because they don't even put too much effort in making like a full show when they are overseas. Because the main crowd is the are the guys from the US, you know? It's the United States crowd.
But
And
they don't even make as much noise as the overseas crowd.
they don't, but it's just a matter of like, yeah, no, the goal is to just like put up a mediocre show for the overseas guys, charge them an arm and a leg, make shit ton of money. You understand? Like, and they really charge a premium. I'm scared to look at how much prices are today, and I know they're just going up and up and up and up and up. The guys in Paris, I know they're gonna pay an arm and a leg.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I tell you, I got to the stage where I contemplated, like, you know what, let me go watch Clash of Paris. But then you start to look at like, okay, they just came out of SummerSlam. What are they gonna put on the show? You understand? That's really just gonna be a selling point. And unfortunately, I've reached the stage where, as a fan, I really want to get value for my money when I watch something, value for my time. So as you just said, sometimes I'm not even gonna watch the full 3 hour show, 2.5 hour show, whatever it is now. Um, I think I see that more rather with like I'd rather watch AEW. Like even it sometimes grinds my gears. There are times where I fast forward because those AEW pay-per-views are long. But
Hmm.
I am proud of myself. This last AEW pay-per-view where John Moxley was taken down by we finally lost the title to Hangman. I watched that full pay-per-view. Can I tell you? I was cleaning my apartment that day and I had the stream running. I watched that pay-per-view from start to finish. I cleaned like spring cleaned my entire apartment. Had everything polished. I mopped, I cleaned windows, I scrubbed fridges, microwaves, inside out, bathroom, deep wash. That's how long these pay-per-views are, to the point that it was just there in the background. I'd occasionally take the peek, be like, okay, man, it's fine. I know Kenny and Kenny and this is the card. We're gonna have a longish man. It's not gonna be that long. It's gonna be long. Let me continue scrubbing on, you know? So I got to the stage where now like I would even watch other brands. I watched TNA even. I forgot to mention this, like 2009, 10. It used to play on DSTV, if I remember correctly. On what show was this? I mean, not channel, it was like 106, 107, 108. I forgot. It's been a while. Look, I was still young. But even TNA I watched. You understand? So there's a deep love for wrestling. And even now, I actually on Thursdays, I actually go in on like not Thursday, Fridays. I'll wake up and get like the TNA stuff queued on my YouTube. And as I prepare my morning, I just be watching it. So there's a deep love for wrestling from me, but also it's like if I'm ever gonna watch it live, it has to be worth it.
Yes, so Tia, let's talk about other brands. We've talked a lot about WWE. I wanted to branch off into other brands because
Mm,
there's other wrestling other than
yeah. Yes,
WWE. We
WWE.
are pro
Yes.
we are pro wrestling central, not WWE
Yes.
central only. So
Yes.
yes, I also watched the AW All In. from start to finish. I think it started like 6 or 7 p.m. here in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually, for the first time ever watching a wrestling show, I popped popcorn and I watched it
No
um,
ways.
right up until 2, 3 in the morning. I'm watching it. So I watched the full thing from the kickoff.
Mm-hmm.
I watched everything right from the countdown.
Oh,
And that's
did you
how I
watch the
usually do
kickoff?
it. I watch
Man.
the kickoff matches as well. That's how hardcore of a fan I am. Even though I know the matches are going to be crap, I want to watch all of it and I want to rate all of the damn matches. So I sometimes for AW shows because they usually on like a Sunday night, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll queue it up. So if it's like on a Monday morning, their Sunday night, it's our Monday morning, say about 12:30,
Oh, damn
1 o'clock,
it.
the show starts. I will
Mm-hmm.
set my alarm. I will sleep early, like 7 o'clock on a Sunday night. Wake up at 11:30, 11:45.
Mm-hmm.
Go freshen up, connect the laptop. So I will even have a shower. I brush my teeth, everything before I go connect the laptop. I'll connect the laptop, plug it in, and I'll sit and watch the full show because I know it'll finish at 6 a.m. in the morning. And then straight from watching that, I disconnect the laptop and I go straight to work from watching a wrestling show. I haven't slept since I woke up
No
at 11:30,
ways.
11:45. I operate a whole day at work, come home, still do my home chores, and then go to sleep at maybe 8, 9 in the evening. So almost 24 hours awake. So
No
I can relate to waking
ways.
up early on a Monday, watching wrestling, going for having a full day of work, coming home, cooking, cleaning, doing the laundry, and then going to sleep. So it's something that's rigorous in me.
Mm-hmm.
I do it all the time. Yes, in the mornings for Raw, SmackDown, I'll just watch the highlights on YouTube. Same thing with
Yes.
TNA, I watch the highlights on YouTube. I did not have the privilege of having DSTV as a kid. So I've never owned DSTV, right till now, as I'm speaking to you. Never owned a satellite DSTV. I always watched the normal channels, but now I'm more into streaming. I've got a laptop. I've got wonderful, I think, 100 gigs data a month from Vodacom. So I watch all my
Mm-hmm.
wrestling, stream movies, stuff like that. So I didn't watch any other wrestling except WWE until I got my smartphone. And I knew about TNA existing,
Mm-hmm.
so I would catch the highlights again on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I actually watched a full product other than WWE, and to this day, it's still the best thing I've ever watched in my entire life. No professional wrestling show, no matter what you show me, will ever come close to this. Lucha Underground. Four
No
seasons
ways.
of the best professional wrestling ever in the whole world. No one will ever change my opinion on that. You will only know it if you've ever watched an episode of Lucha Underground. It's like a
No ways.
mixture of professional wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
lucha libre, combined with like elements of like mythology and lore, like Dragon Ball Z, combined
Yes.
with a TV show about cops trying to infiltrate the temple, which was where the arena of Lucha Underground was, to catch criminals
Oh.
who are criminals outside but wrestling inside. So they'll show you the wrestling, the full matches, but there are backstories. They'll give you cinematic scenes like you're watching a TV show, like you're watching an episode of
No
NCIS
way.
or SWAT or any of these TV shows you can think of that's full of action and drama. You get that. Plus, there's love stories in there. So it's almost like a soapy also going on one side. You've got an action TV show slash movie going on the other side. You've got pro wrestling going on this side. Then this side, there's some mythology, Dragon Ball Z stuff going on here. And then there's some lucha libre guy flying off the top of a roof on this side. There was a guy named Angelico, who is South Africa's own wrestler in Lucha Underground. Trust me, it was like an absolute melting pot of everything combined into one. That's what Lucha
Mm-hmm.
Underground was. And that's why, to me, like Blade is saying, it was awesome. To me, Lucha Underground was the best wrestling I ever saw. I was super crushed when it ended because there was politics within Lucha Underground's management and executive team, which is why the whole thing collapsed.
Yeah.
But for the
Man,
4 years
it's.
that I watched it, oh, what an amazing show. You know how into Lucha Underground I was? I was like, F the WWE network. On a Thursday morning, I'm
Mm-hmm.
scouring the internet to find an episode of Lucha Underground from YouTube to freaking watch wrestling, all these freaking pirate sites trying
Yes,
to
yes. So
download.
watch, yeah,
So
just try to
I
get
would
it again.
download it and I would watch it. And here's the crazy part. I was a switchboard operator reception at the time. I
Mm-hmm.
would download it on my phone, or I'd queue it up on my phone because I knew where to find it. I'd go to work, I would connect to their Wi-Fi, which they didn't know I had access to, connect to their Wi-Fi, download the show onto my phone using their Wi-Fi, and sit at
Because it's
work with my
expensive.
phone next to my computer, pretend like I'm doing work, but meanwhile I'm watching Lucha Underground on the side. It was like,
And the thing is, I know what you're talking about, man. Like you be working sometimes, but then you just have it in the corner there. And if the match is not too intriguing, you just okay, you actually get some work done. But when the match does get interesting, you now just say, oh, okay, oh, all right, now that's damn, you know. And like if there's a promo and stuff, you just want to crank up the volume ever so slightly, just so that you don't make noise, but also you can just audible. I end up using captions, by the way. That's just how dedicated I am at times because I can't crank the volume up, like that. Man, I wish I watched like Lucha Underground. I've heard a lot of people talk about like how
you
we
can
miss
still
out a
get
lot.
episodes of it. You'll
Hmm.
find episodes on Daily Motion. There's some clips on YouTube, and I think some full matches on YouTube. I'm not
Hmm.
sure. I have to double check this, but I don't know which countries it's available in. Maybe if you use a VPN, you can find out on Netflix. They do have episodes of Lucha Underground. I would
Is it?
strongly advise anyone to at least check out one or two episodes. I guarantee you'll be hooked after at least two or three episodes. Guarantee it.
Mm. No,
And
I
like
mean,
Blade is saying, best drop kick ever by Angelico in that promotion. So if you've never seen Lucha Underground, there's a South African wrestler by the name of Angelico. He's a high flyer. The way the
hmm,
temple is set up, there's a ring in the middle, and there's
hmm,
like steps going upwards, like a pavilion almost, right?
hmm,
So you're sitting in the pavilion, the crowd is sitting there, and to the side of the ring, there's a little like a block where the owner, well, quote unquote general manager of the promotion, his name was Dario Cueto. He would sit in that office and watch the wrestling as it happened from his office. So that's what that cube was. On the top of the cube, it's an empty space. So when
hmm.
Helico, during this match, gets knocked out of the ring, he walks up the steps. We think he's leaving his tag partner in the lurch. He walks across to the other side, gets to the top of that block of that building, and as the bad guy is climbing the ladder to reach for the title, this dude runs off the top of the block, jumps, leaps, and I'm talking like a freaking distance away from the ring. He's nowhere near the ring. He
No
leaps,
way.
floats through the air like a missile with a drop kick, and knocks the guy right off the ladder. My God, I marked out so crazy. The office, one of the guys from the office came in the front to say, "Are you okay? I thought you were being attacked." I was like, "No, I'm fine. It was just a cockroach. I saw a cockroach over there, so it kind of freaked me out." Meanwhile, I'm marking out like, "What the fuck?" And Helico just did that. So I had to like mute myself after that. I'm like, I'm gonna try not to pop that bad as I did right there.
No, now that you mention, like when you mention it, I'm thinking about it. Now I wanna watch. You pushed me to watch that match because I can imagine how that would get anyone popping because it's like, dude, you could have killed yourself. Just saying, like you could have
He
killed
literally could have
yourself.
died. Yeah,
You know,
he could have died.
the things wrestlers do for us, you understand? They just bless their souls, man. Gee, these guys. Because like I can imagine watching that. I would be like, no way. And now I'm just thinking out of how it would pop. Like I've done that many times, even here. And for now, because I live alone, so it's fine. I'll just like scream and stuff, and it's like 2 a.m. watching wrestling, and I'm like, oh no! And I'm just like, damn, okay, thank God, like there's no one else in the same house as me. My windows are shut because man, the pops, like when you're so involved in a match, man, and I know that the few like Mexican style wrestling matches that I've seen, it's high paced, it's fast paced, and this is why I get why wrestling fans get pissed when we end up having like Mexican stars are not booked to their full potential, regardless of the promotion they're in. You're like, did I know the potential this guy has or this girl has? Like, come on, man! I used to see this stuff. Like, for example, you just said I used to see this guy leap off a building, like a pavilion, and just like do a drop kick into the ring. And now you've just watered him down to just be like grounded. Like, come on, dude. This is not what I signed up for.
And I mean, like, look at recently they reinforced the announce table so that impact of the collapsing table won't hit. Imagine if they had reinforced the table, Mick Foley falling off the top of the cell. Imagine how that would have ended. It would have
No,
ended
man.
horrific,
It would have been
horrific.
bad. He could have that would have been a career-ending bump day. That would have because like did you see even like the Gash speed had after it was launched on the table by what was this? By Otis. Because those tables are strong as hell. So you remember like Speed went into the Royal Rumble, he got speared by Braun Baker. Yes.
Oh, I show speed.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's just
yes,
speed.
yes.
Yeah, that and then like those tables, the way they just yeeted him, and then he just like he got a gash in his leg and stuff like that. And I'm just
Hmm.
looking at like if he had just been yeeted on the old table, the table would have just crumbled, you know. But like he got yeeted, and that table said, "I'm not going anyway." You know, I've seen even Braun Breaker jump on people, and that table, yes, yes, Otis yeeted him there. Um, and I've seen like Braun Breaker jump on people on the table. He still lands on the table and the table doesn't break. I think he got injured just in the last match recently as well.
Hmm.
And those reinforced tables are something else. Now, this is something that we'll forever miss, like in other promotions. Like, there's no table spots like that, like in AEW. You know, like I sometimes miss the whole table clearing and slamming on the table. But like, how do they ever do them in AEW or in?
Remember AW spots? There are spots in New Japan Pro Wrestling. But
Hmm.
the thing is, with New Japan, it's not announced just like America. The New
Yeah.
Japan desks are just simple, like freaking tables. Yes, they do gimmick tables for a specific spot. So
Hmm.
I did watch, I think it was What Culture or some of these, one of the these other shows where they showed
Hmm.
one year. If you remember, Byron Saxton used to be a commentary. So the one
Yes.
year there was a table spot plan, and they showed like Byron Saxton going under the table and removing the reinforced pins, so that when the guy fell through,
Oh,
the table collapsed. So they had the reinforced pins there for future spots. So like when Randy Orton does that whole bump on the table, when he throws you on the side of the
yes, yes,
table,
yes. Hmm.
so that table's reinforced for that spot, so it doesn't collapse. But for this spot, they had to have Byron Saxton remove the pins that were reinforcing the table. So when this guy went through, the table collapsed. In fact, for WrestleMania 32, Shane
Hmm.
McMahon's elbow drop from the top of the cell. I
Hmm.
saw a backstage clip. There was an like an airbag underneath the
Yes,
announce
yes.
table. You know, in
Hmm.
movies when they do falls off the top of things and they fall in this like air pad.
Oh,
They
yes,
had a
yes, to
crash
cushion
pad
the fall.
to
Yes, yes,
cushion
yes.
the fall. So when he fell, you could just see the air pad deflating under the table. So I was like,
Oh,
wow, okay, that's how Shane McMahon didn't die.
okay. So is that how they do it?
But I don't know how they did it with Mick because there was no cushion pad for
Nah, nah,
Mick.
nah, nah. Mick is our John Moxley is the modern day Mick. They just take things raw and
Mick fell off the top through the cell. Forget the top. He fell through the cell. Triple H, Hell in a Cell match, Royal Rumble 2000. Check that match out. He falls
Mhm.
through the cell and through the ring. The ring has a dent in it, and he's lying, crashed, like the wood is even broken.
No.
You should
Why
check
did
that match out.
no ways. No ways, man. Like
It was
I
crazy,
man, like
crazy,
I
crazy,
agree. I
crazy.
agree, man. And what's your take on quick question, what's your take on like Mox's style of working in AEW, especially the Blackfield matches? I've like sometimes overdoes them.
You see,
Sometimes.
I think they're misusing John Moxley because here's the thing. Back in the
Hmm.
day, when you had big stars like Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage, they weren't on TV every week. You only
Hmm.
bring them out for big events. And if they
Yeah,
were
that
on TV, It was
Mhm.
just a promo spot to promote a future match.
Oh, for the
That's what they
mystique
should do with
behind it.
Moxley. That's what they should do with
Hmm.
Moxley. Don't have him wrestle all the time. That man's going to bleed in every freaking match you put him in. So you rather have him cut promos on weekly TV and only have him wrestle at the pay-per-views where he's going to bleed all his guts out because he's a bleeder. He comes from the GCW days, those extreme promotions, I think
Yes.
CBW, where they have fluorescent light tube smashing matches. So they
Oh my
should keep
word,
him
dude.
for those matches. No, don't have him exposed every week because he is going to bleed. He is going to bleed.
Thanks. I agree
So
with you.
other wrestling promotions, I didn't watch TNA until 20s, not even 2019 maybe 2020 when it sucked. I
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
didn't
I mean,
watch Ring of Honor until that point as well. It was also sucking. But the thing about
mm-hmm,
Ring of Honor, I'll be honest with you, I watched their last show, Supercard of Honor. It was on the
mm-hmm.
weekend of All In. Top-notch wrestling, like absolute top-notch wrestling. Like if
Oh
you want to
man.
watch, see, Ring of Honor is not about they're not about social media viral spot moments like WWE. They're
Mm-hmm,
not about extreme wrestling like any other like AEW, John Moxley. They're
mm-hmm.
about pure technical wrestling. Now,
Oh.
some people have a misconception that oh, pure wrestling, technical wrestling is boring and stuff. Trust me, Ring of Honor makes it interesting. When you watch these guys doing their chain wrestling spots, and then there's a submission hold like with Zack Sabre Jr. and he's weaving his way
Oh
through
yeah.
out of an arm lock into an arm bar into a leg lock and then spinning out and the crowd is clapping. Wow, that's amazing.
Oh man,
They
you're
lock up
throwing me
again.
into the.
They go for another
Oh man.
chain wrestling move set. You know, that little roll through, cartwheel, pop up, kip up, armbar, twist, that kind of stuff. It's amazing. It's beautiful wrestling to watch. So it's not boring. I wouldn't say it's boring. It's only for if you appreciate the true art of pro wrestling, then you'll be able to appreciate what Ring of Honor brings to the table. So I mean, if you want to get a taste of what Ring of Honor is about, they have a literally not a 5, a 9 hour collection of their best matches. It's on YouTube. It's available on Ring of
Mm-hmm,
Honor.
mm-hmm.
You're going to see guys like Nigel McGuinness when he used to wrestle. You're going to see Adam Pearce. When he used to wrestle, you see Brian Danielson. You'll see Adam Cole. You'll see Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn when he was El Generico, the Briscoes, the Young Bucks. There's even a match with them there. There's Samoa Joe versus CM Punk matches in there. So there's some really good matches in that collection. If you really want to know how good Ring of Honor is, I would recommend going onto YouTube and watch that 9 hour collection of that good. And they Blade is just saying it now. Danielson versus McGuinness gave us some of the best technical wrestling, and yeah,
Oh.
it's really brilliant. So Ring of Honor, good technical wrestling. Lucha Underground, amazing melting pot of everything. TNA, what can I say about TNA? With their partnership with WWE now, it's a little bit better.
Mm-hmm,
Before, it wasn't so good, but it was really good from 2002, I would say, till 2009, 10, maybe
mm-hmm.
even a little bit 11. There was some good wrestling there. I'm not going to
Yes.
lie, some good spots. At times, it did feel like a WWE reunion. You had guys like Christian Cage, the Dudleys, Kurt Angle,
Booker
Mr.
T.
Anderson, all there at the same time.
Yes.
So it was weird. But that you also had guys like Sting and AJ Styles and all those guys that were the Burst as well. They were the foundations of TNA, and they never switched sides. Even Jeff Jarrett. So those are the foundation guys, and they had some really good matches. Perk Angle was peak Angle. I agree with that because he gave us some of the best matches when he was high on drugs. I know it sounds horrible what I'm saying, but it actually, if you watch some of the matches of Angle when he was high on drugs and he was Perk Angle, that was peak Angle. He gave us some of the best
That.
wrestling matches, and so TNA was good for a while. Leaving that aside, AW now,
Mm-hmm.
AW was amazing. When it started off,
Yes.
2019, I watched the All In show in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Still one of my favorite wrestling shows of all time is that All In show. Then we got to 2019. AEW started out. It was great. The tag team division was the best thing about AEW. I don't care what
Mm-hmm.
anyone says. Their tag team, they
Yeah.
had Private Party, they had Jurassic Express, the Young Bucks, SCU, an amazing array of tag teams that really was a foundation of AEW at the time. So they had some good matches, good storylines, but over time, I think there's a downturn. I don't know where it went wrong, but they have a million ways to make it right. And we now can see when they try hard, like what they did with All Out or
Mm-hmm.
All In this year, they can
Yes.
produce a great wrestling show. They just need the right guidance. So I
Yeah.
still watch AEW, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm also trying to root for them to get back to the top of where
Correct.
they need to be.
Yes.
Leaving the United States, New Japan Pro Wrestling, amazing promotion.
Yeah.
I was an
They.
ardent follower of them when they had
Mm-hmm.
all the top guys. I'm talking about guys like Will Ospreay, Kazuchika Okada, Switchblade Jay White, Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, Cody Rhodes, Hiroshi Tanahashi, um, Hiroki
Shinsuke.
Goto still there, Tetsuya Naito, Los Ingobernables de Japón, Shingo Takagi, Hiromu Takahashi. You got names
Mm-hmm.
like Bushi, El Desperado. Amazing wrestlers. Absolutely amazing wrestling. Here's New Japan. New Japan and AEW, I
Mm-hmm.
would liken them to one and the same. Because
Mm-hmm.
here's New Japan. New Japan focuses on the in-ring aspect, the match, the sport aspect of wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Where WWE, like I said, it's all about viral moments. Lucha Underground was about the TV show. Ring of Honor was about the technical side of wrestling. New Japan is about the sports part side of wrestling. That's why they call themselves King of Sports because they're about the sports of professional wrestling. So I
Correct.
think that's if you want sports wrestling, that's the place to go. Don't look at storylines too much. New Japan's not about storylines like AEW. Very rarely
Yes.
you get good storylines. But if you want good solid wrestling like AEW, New Japan's the next best thing.
Mm-hmm.
AAA, now that they've been bought off by WWE, we're going to see how things go. But I mean, everyone who saw that AAA match show that happened in June 7th, I think it was, on
Mm-hmm.
WWE's YouTube channel, you know exactly what AAA is all about. Lucha Libre, for me, that's my type of wrestling. The bouncing off the ropes, the flying over the top rope, the tope suicidas, tope con hilos. As Mauro Ranallo would say, Mamma mia, tope suicida,
See,
tope con hilo.
where
This has
is
become a war of attrition,
Maranello? Oh my
Naito.
word. He kills me. I dig his commentary as well. Just as an aside. Man, that's so and just thinking about it, we need to like I think you touched on something very important. I think it all boils down to how you got introduced to wrestling and
Hmm.
where your love is for wrestling. I know many people don't watch AEW because they got introduced to wrestling via WWE even. I'm not even gonna talk about like WCW or WWF. They got introduced to it when it was now WWE, very storyline based and all that. And whether the stories were nice or bad, like that's what they know. So when you get to, as you just said, an NJPW, it's just like, how am I feeling this, man? Or I hear people also like go off on like the Mexican style wrestling, like your Triple A's, your Lucha Libres, and they're
TMLL.
like, yeah, they're like, oh yes, yes, yeah, yes, and they're like, but it's just a spot fest, and I was like, man, you you just man, you don't appreciate it the way everyone else does, man. If you ever like, and you described it ever like correctly, like if you love sports wrestling, go watch that kind of a thing. And I loved you spoke about Zack Sabre Jr. I the first match I watched of Zack Sabre Jr. was him against Bryan Danielson, and I loved that match. It was on AEW, if I remember correctly. Was it a year or
Zack
two
Sabre
back?
Jr., I mean, if you want to watch him in WWE, he was in the Cruiserweight Classic in 2016. I think it's still up on the network.
Mm-hmm.
Search up Cruiserweight Classic, you'll find it there. Zack
Is it?
Sabre Jr. was there, Kota Ibushi was there. A lot of the international stars from around the world, Cruiserweight stars, you'll find them on that. So they were in WWE performing there as well.
Yes. No,
Hmm.
no, no.
I
You,
like
you,
Blade
you
is saying we all have different
have
tastes.
different
We all
tastes.
do.
Yes. Yes, no, no,
I
no.
think that's what you're alluding to.
Yeah, no, no, no. He's right. He's right. And I was one person who got introduced to wrestling through what do you call this, the WWE machine, but slowly started watching oh, I didn't watch the Wrestle Dream 2023 match, or maybe I did. I don't remember. But it's
But I
it's
think it
now
was.
yeah.
That
I
was the
think
last time we had Danielson versus
it's
ZSJ.
actually
Yeah.
between. Yeah, no, no, no. I loved watching those two. And now when I started watching TNA and then Impact Wrestling and then Global Force Wrestling, because I don't know what was happening with the partnerships over there. And then you had Aces and Eights of the Bully or the Dudley Boys or Aces and Eights or whatever. So that was the moment. And then now as I grew up and I started searching more on wrestling and like I said, understanding more, that's when I started to learn more about NJPW, your Ring of Honors, your CMLs, your Lucha Libres, and all that. And I'm just like, geez, there's so much wrestling for me to watch. I need to catch up. That's where I am.
Yeah, there's a lot of wrestling around the world. So as we're rounding off, let's see what are your favorites of wrestling? Like what do you like most about wrestling? And what would you like to see wrestling improve on in the future? So, for example, we're talking about what is like, well, we know everybody watches WWE. So, your favorite matches that you like to watch, your favorite pay-per-views, favorite wrestlers, things you like about wrestling, and things you'd like to see improve and be better that maybe aren't at the level they need to be now, maybe that you dislike a little bit about wrestling now that you'd like to see improve in the future.
Oh, oh, you got me on that. Um, I think for me, um, looking at it, wrestling as it is right now, I enjoy like overall, like I think it's also on a company to company type of thing. But because I mean each one's got a different flavor of wrestling, rather let's put it that way. I'd really like to see um companies not hoard wrestlers or hoard talent only for them to bench them, you know? Because I think for the most part, a lot of these wrestlers there's a passion within them. You understand for the sport or for the art that is wrestling, not for them to like. Of course, companies, and of course, like the pinnacle, or not the pinnacle, but like where you'd say you've made it. I've made it like oh for WWE, but I've seen that there's a lot of wrestlers whose dream it has honestly been like one day I'll work so hard, I'll get into wrestling and I can finally make it to WWE. And then this wrestler gets there and you just see them just being benched or the company is not caring. And you just say, okay, so this was just a like a trophy that they've just like bought there. You just there. We've got you an amazing wrestler. We've bought you. You can just chill on the bench over there. And I'm just there like, guys.
What
Did
was
you
the
guys
point?
just yeah, what was the point? You guys got like very bad example. You guys got Painter, but Painter is just sitting there and he's not wrestling anyone. So why did you get him? Or why did you get Ray Phoenix? Or you understand that's a bad example, but of course we're seeing them quite a bit on TV now. Or they'll go and get these like big Spanish wrestlers, you understand? And because you've got hindsight and you've seen them in other promotions, you've seen their style of work. Shinsuke is an absolute like disappointment for me. Yet, knowing the kind of stuff, the kind of wrestling he was doing outside of WWE and seeing how he's used there, you're just like, bruh, come on. So that is something that I really dislike about wrestling at the moment. It's companies going all out to buy these amazing wrestlers and not giving them time. And then instead what they do, we end up having pointless, lengthy segments on TV. Like I say, that's WWE. It's pointless. You go sit there and then they're gonna wheel out Seth Rollins for 20 minutes and he's just gonna spit the same promo for the next 3 weeks. He just opens the show and he says the same thing. And it's like, dude, but we've heard you, man. Like, let's develop this, man. Like, what's happening? What's this? This union of yours, poem, and what's happening? Like, okay, let's cut this down to 10 minutes. Let's get other wrestlers in, man. Like, let's get this intercontinental title. like going. You understand? Rey Mysterio has been champ. I mean, not Rey Mysterio. Dominic Mysterio has been Intercontinental Champion for how long? He just had a title defense now against AJ Styles after how many months? You understand? Let's use wrestlers. I can't even name the amount of wrestlers which are in the backstage that we're not even seeing. We had a heel turn, the New Day. What did we do with them? So, that's that. I'd love them to improve on that. What am I liking? I like that at least there is the concept of long-term storytelling. Um, there is less insulting of viewers. This was something I would see with Vince. They would insult the viewers' intelligence quite a lot. And John Cena has spoken about this countless times. I think he said it recently. He's like, someone asked him like, dude, what is your biggest take, or what have you learned about this or working in business? And he said, there's one thing I've learned is that the fans are really smart and they're gonna call you out on your bullshit. You understand? So I like that they're really working on that. It's not perfect, but like, look, it's a work in progress. I like they're not gonna insult our intelligence. Like, dude, I saw this happen last week. You're not gonna tell me it didn't happen. You understand? Wins and losses actually do matter, you know? So there's that. And then another thing to work on is women's wrestling. I believe now that we've got to stop using um all the talent as a crutch. You understand? Like, let's build up new talent. There's many times where we get these women out there and they are not being um they're just there, but they're not being used. And then you're like, they're very green. Yes, they are very green. I understand, but put them in the machine. Get them working. Get them working the what is it? Is it dark shows or dark segments? Or I
Yeah.
forgot what's the correct wrestling jargon over there. But get them
Yeah,
working.
dark
Like,
matches. Yeah.
yes, the dark matches. That's it. Jade Cargill is someone who's a good example of someone who is green. Tiffany Stratton for me as well is someone who's still green. I'll be honest, yet, but get those people working more and more and more matches. Like, I can see an improvement, obviously, in Tiffany from the time she started in this. Jade as well. Like, I look at her match with Tiffany at SummerSlam. It was just like wham bam bam. Like, okay, let's go. You understand? Let's keep it nice and short. Let's not expose Jade's weaknesses. Let's not expose this one's weaknesses. That's my opinion. Please, like, if you don't agree with me, call me out on it. But I feel like let's develop the women's wrestling. Same applies to Tony. Same applies to Tony. Women's wrestling, man, come on. I know I've got Mercedes Moné and her million titles, and we're getting there, but like, let's build it up more. Let's build it up more. Let's not just give women segments. Like, let's build. Let's have a little bit more women. Let's just add a bit more flavor to this. And what am I not hating? This one is more of a backstage thing. Um, you spoke about it, AEW. Come on, guys. You guys were up there, but like, I think Tony needs to tighten up his ship a bit over there. I like him to just work on it a bit more over there. I mean, we had Brawl Out. I mean, I can go on a rant about Brawl Out and how much like there's a lot there that was meant to be heard there, or sorted out there. People got power that they're not supposed to get, or freedom that they're not supposed to get. So, like, from that kind of perspective, yes, I would love it to be worked on. And yeah, just like spend time with your storylines. Uh was Ron
Stories of
going back to be
anything. Okay.
Oh yes. Yes, that's it. Ron Killings. Ron Killings. Ah, that's something else, eh? This gone back to truth. Oh, we didn't just see him grab a scissors and cut his hair like a couple of days. Now suddenly like, oh,
Because
um
John Cena's back, he's back. It's like it's weird.
oh, it's did you watch SmackDown by the way? I don't want to spoil it.
I did. I
Did
did.
you
I
see did
watched
you
it.
see the segment of John
I
and
did.
Truth now, like Truth, and
So
it's
it's
like,
like
oh yeah,
Truth's like not crazy anymore
is
for
he,
some
yeah,
reason.
Truth,
He's
yeah,
gone
he's
back
not
to doing the
crazy.
comedy act.
Yes, he's gone back to the comedy acts, and then Cena's like, oh man, you were going crazy, man. You said you wanted to ruin wrestling, and I was like, oh okay, we got what has happened to Ron that just got fired and just came back and is suddenly real. We were also hyped up to see what Ron Killings is about to do. And
Mhm.
I think we would agree. I think this is probably his final run. I don't think, I mean, looking at the age he's at right now, I don't think he's gonna, like,
Yeah.
of course, he can still go somewhat. Like, he's and I think those are the benefits of being used as a comedy act. Your body doesn't take so many bumps, so you remain looking young. And you
Mhm.
understand, you sound like when you say Chris Jericho still taking, you can see Chris Jericho has been working, man. He should probably hang up the boots. But you get around killings, he hasn't been wrestling. So, but anyways, yeah, that's me. Let me not go too long. But yeah, those are the things that I think wrestling could work on. Um,
You didn't
stop
touch
benching
on what
wrestlers.
you like. What
Oh,
what
what
what are your likes of wrestling? So that when people are watching us do predictions in future, when people are watching watch-alongs, they'll understand why you're saying, "Oh, I liked that," or "This is cool." You know what I'm saying?
mm. Right. What do I like? Jeez, you just challenged me on that one. I let me see. What do I like? What do I like? I think from a wrestling perspective, I'm trying to see wrestler to wrestler. I'm a big fan of long-term storytelling. That's I guess I don't know if that answers the question. I'm a big fan of long-term storytelling.
So if
I
someone
like to.
asked me
Mm-hmm,
basically, or asked Jeremy what they like about wrestling, so Jeremy would say, I'm into the power guys, the power game matches.
mm-hmm,
He likes peeking back the curtain. I would say I love the high flyers, the hardcore stuff. Who are my favorite wrestlers? I can rattle that off of a little bit. What my favorite match types are. So I like the high fly, the hardcore match types. I like Chris
mm-hmm,
Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio. Those are my guys. I would say that my favorite wrestling promotion was Lucha Underground, but obviously I got introduced to WWE, so that's the thing. I do like a little bit of Ring of Honor, a
mm-hmm.
a little bit of everything in wrestling. So if someone were to ask me about wrestling, what I like about it, that's what I would go with. So if someone asked you what you like about wrestling in that sense, what would you say?
Okay, now from that, I would say I like the the high flyers, you understand? The high flyers with a blend of like the technical wrestling, you understand? Yeah, that's me, and I love that style of wrestling. I like the Zack Sabre Jr. style of wrestling with Danielson, you understand? The you can see that there's like some serious mental like work going on in there, you understand? It's not just we fighting, like it's someone like you can see the cogs turning in the head. That's my style of wrestling. I want to see someone mentally and physically break someone down. You understand? That's it. That's it. And yeah, that's my style of wrestling. I like, and also I love the high flyers. I love your ever since I got introduced like the Spanish style of wrestling, I've been enjoying it. You understand? Even Triple A now, ever since got acquired, I start to like watch a little bit more of their matches. Of course, there's a language barrier, but then I like to watch that style of wrestling. The guys jumping in, up and down. It's because I initially loved the power wrestling, new Brock Lesnar style, but I've since sort of grown out of it because then it's just like, just eat someone up and just bam. So now I just like to see a little bit of mental, like like someone's mind being applied, them thinking about, because it in a sense it sort of feels real-ish. You understand? Someone saying, "Oof, I'm struggling to take down this person. What do I go for in this moment? Okay, let me try go for the leg." You understand? And then you see that I was like, okay, I can see he's going for my leg. I'm gonna try defend by doing this. So that's it. And right now, that's why like when I see like such matches where like there's quite a lot of like emotion and backstory, you understand? When there's backstory, how these people eventually got to the stage where they're fighting like this, I that's what keeps me going there, I guess.
Well, this has been quite the enlightening almost 2 hours
Almost two
of
hours, yeah.
talking wrestling is absolutely incredible. Thank you, Blade, for being here, for
Yo,
dropping
appreciate
some
you, Blake.
jewels. he kind
Yes,
of
thank you,
gave us
Blade.
he kind of gave us some directions as well in our conversation.
It,
So
yeah,
thanks,
he
Blade,
did.
for
No,
dropping in. We
appreciate
had
it,
a view at
appreciate it
least.
as well. No,
And
Blade helped a lot.
yeah, he did. He did help quite a bit. So thank you to Blade for being here. Thank you, Ashley, for taking your time this morning. Well, now it's afternoon in South Africa, but Ireland probably now only entering the afternoon hours.
Smack bang in the
So,
middle right now.
yeah, smack dab in the middle. So, thank you for taking the time to talk to us about wrestling. And yeah, man, this has been quite interesting and informative to know how you got into wrestling and how Blade and I myself we all got into wrestling and we watch it. So now in the future editions, whenever that may be, whenever we're dropping predictions, when we're doing watch-alongs and you're able to join. Speaking of watch-alongs, we're doing one right here on Facebook at the end of the month. Clash in Paris. It'll be on the 31st of August. So it's a
Hmm.
Sunday evening here in South Africa. I think it'll be Sunday afternoon there in Ireland.
Hmm.
Will you be joining us?
Of course, of course. I mean, I'm hoping Facebook takes more than four because I think that was the other challenge we ended up having on Instagram where there was maximum four people. So I'm hoping it takes more than four, and then
I
we can
doubt
join.
it. I doubt it. I think it's only going to let us 4. But we won't have Jeremy this time. He will be at a gas motor show for his
Hmm.
work. So we've only confirmed Sumit and myself. So if you could drop in as a third man and be our Hulk
Fully.
Hogan of the Outsiders NWO, that would be
Will do.
awesome. Then I can
Yes,
have
yes.
Sumit and you over here, and I could be like, you could call this the new world order of wrestling. Oh, that's something we didn't
No.
talk about. Hulk Hogan. Opinion? Are
Opinion.
you separating Hulk Hogan from Terry Bollea?
Yes, yes. That. Yeah. To be short, yes, I am. I'm 100% am. As someone who watches like any sort of entertainment, I like to separate the people I watch on TV or on my favorite dramas or on my wrestling from who they are in their personal lives. So when I speak of Hulk Hogan, I'm talking about Hulk Hogan, not Terry. And yeah, man, watching the way he did his things, it was like even the way he wrestled like your Andre the Giants and you know the big slam when he carried him and it was like this big thing. And it's like, no, man, Hulk Hogan really did a lot for the business. You understand? I'm gonna put aside the politics and the things that happened. As a fan that watched Hulk Hogan, amazing, amazing work. It's a huge loss to the wrestling world. You know, of course, yes, he now in his personal life and his behavior, the things that he said, his beliefs, those unfortunately they soured. And unfortunately it's not how at the end of the day it's how you leave them. You understand? So and that's why that saying still sticks to this is that you sometimes live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And that's what happened to him. He ended up becoming a villain, but I'm just mentally gonna block out all these things and just focus on Hulk Hogan, the person that I watched in Vintage Collection because I was not alive for that moment.
Yeah.
And yes, yeah, I know it is a loss.
I mean, without Hulk Hogan and without Vince McMahon, as much as we hate him,
Oh,
wrestling would
yes.
not be where it is today at that
Correct.
international mainstream pop culture level that it is. So we
Yes.
obviously have to give them credit for what they did in the business and whatever they
Hmm.
did in their personal life, keep it to one side.
Yeah, we can.
Even though what Vince did was in the office of WWE, it was his personal life. What he did for the
Yes,
business, I separate the two
we
completely.
separate the two. Yeah, we look at what we saw on screen and what made our days. What made me on a Sunday afternoon say I'm gonna go be seated down at exactly 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock to watch this wrestling show. That's what I look at.
Exactly. And that's why when people ask me what my opinion of Chris Benoit is, I always say he was an amazing wrestler. I don't speak
Correct.
about the incidents of 2007. I speak about his wrestling career as a
He's
whole. And
wrestling.
he'll still be one of my
Yes.
favorites. So that's how I
And
look at it.
I agree with you. I agree with you. It's we need to learn to separate these things and understand that that's that, this is this. So, and
Exactly.
you've rightly pointed out. Appreciate you spending time and formally getting me onto the platform, joining the family. It's been a long time coming, and
Welcome.
yes,
Welcome
no,
to Pro Wrestling Central on screen. You have been a long time member. I'm glad the
yeah.
fans have got to know you now, got to know how you think, how you click, how you watch wrestling, how you view it. So when we're doing the watch along, Clash in Paris 31 August, they are in tune with you. They know exactly how you're thinking. So thank you for spending your time this afternoon to talk with us. And we will see you and everyone else who's watching this video, even on tape delay. I said tape delay. There, old school wrestling fan in
Old
me,
school.
who's watching this
VCR.
later on, who's
Yes.
watching this later on. Even if you're watching it 3 weeks later, like an ETV broadcast, still good. We're
Yeah.
watching the video. You know now who Ash is, and we will see you on the 31st of August for our one live watch along of WWE Clash in Paris. Until then,
Clash.
for Ash, we're gonna get a nickname for you one of the days. You know,
Yeah.
Jeremy's the
Yeah.
legal bald eagle. Sumit is a faithful jail veteran. I am the
Oh.
CEO of PWC. So
Oh.
one day,
One day I'm gonna earn my nickname as well.
yeah, you will earn a nickname. Don't worry. So for Ash, I'm the CEO of PWC Noshad Khan. Pro Wrestling Central, we are for the people, by the people, and we'll see you guys on the 31st of August for our live watch along. Check you guys there. Peace and
Cheers, cheers.
shoo